In this lesson, we're going to discuss using a revert feature that's built into the Java Eclipse IDE. Now this revert is different from a revert that you may be used to if you're familiar with working with source control. So you may think, sure, doing a revert is easy, especially if you're using get or subversion or some other type of source control. You simply just press a few buttons on your GUI to control your source control, or perhaps if you're working with a shell, you just execute a few commands and revert to the previous saved version, which then resets your files. That's correct if you're working with source control, but right now we don't have this project wired up to source control, and Eclipse actually comes with a built-in revert feature. However, this feature is of course limited to only the most recent save on your files. This is one way, though, that you could restore to a previous version if you start going down a path and find that you're just completely getting lost and you're afraid that you've destroyed your source code and you simply want to revert back to where it was before you had started for that last feature since the last save. So what we can do is just open a few of the editors and let's just mess them up in a major way. So let's grab this method from data file manipulator and let's throw it in here, and let's throw it in our password data editor as well for some reason, just anywhere after a method is complete here. Looks like this is a long method, so we'll go down here. So we can see now we have two different files that we've completely mutilated with a method that doesn't need to exist in those files. So we realize this cutting and pasting, copying and pasting has destroyed our files and we're completely lost as to what we've done. Let's determine that we had continued to do this to a point where it's unrecoverable, and it's more than just a simple matter of undoing. What we could simply do is go to the File menu and select Revert. Now you'll note that there's no assigned key commands with this, so you do have to use the File menu. Just select Revert, and you'll note that immediately this file that's open in the window has been reverted. So again, if I want to undo this one, I need to revert again. So each file that I want to revert back to its previous saved version. And again, one thing to note, had I saved those changes, then the revert is no longer available, just like it's not available now because of the fact that nothing has been changed. And so if I were to say int x equals 32 and save that in my password manager, I can no longer rely on revert to undo that. So it's just something you need to keep in mind. So again, this is very limited. It is not as powerful as using source control, of course, but it is a quick way that if you're working with a bunch of unsaved files and have made a bunch of changes, you can revert back to their previous saved version. And that concludes our look at the revert feature.